All right. Here we are. It is that time to take a look at the papers, the dailies across Nigeria, the major stories, the talking points, and everything that has you and me buzzing. This is Freshly Pressed on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. My name is Ayokunmi. It is 31 minutes past 7 a.m. on the 30th day of May 2025. Welcome along to the final Freshly Pressed of the week. It's an absolute pleasure to have you join us. Yes, indeed. It's going to be another session where you get to weigh in on the stories we're talking about. We love to get your thoughts and your perspective as well. So please do all to join us on WhatsApp. The number is 0809 444 0981. Let me take that once again. 0809 444 0981. That is the WhatsApp number. You can also join the live stream on YouTube. Leave a comment there at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Those are the ways that you can be a part of the show this morning. With me at the moment is AB Bozimo. Good morning to you, AB.
Good morning, Sir Ayo of the Polar Extraction. The way you address this morning, my goodness, people need to visit you on YouTube and see.
I mean,
great to join you. Great to join the wonderful listeners out there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And pretty sure that Joseph will join us in a little bit, maybe a couple of technical issues here and there, or maybe the cold is also affecting that because that's why I'm decked by winter's best right now. You know what they say, prevention is way better than cure. Yes, indeed.
I tell you,
All
definitely.
right. Until then, let's begin our sojourn into the major stories this morning. AB, we're going to start in the punch, and it's still all about the Tinubu administration's 2 years in office. Now, this one is all about a political firestorm as the 2 year review has been stirring up a lot of different reactions. So the story reads, as President Bola Tinubu marks 2 years in office yesterday, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, that's the People's Democratic Party coalition of united political parties, and also the African Democratic Congress have all condemned the All Progressives Congress-led administration, citing the biting economic hardships. Now, the criticisms come as Nigerians reflect on Tinubu's performance in office while grappling with surging inflation, high costs of living, unemployment, insecurity, as well as mounting national debt. Uh, I could go on and on here, AB, but let me just stop right there and just ask you this. Now, of course, we know that it hasn't been a perfect 2 years. There have been some strides made here and there and so on. Now, is this a classic case of opposition being opposition, or do they have a leg to stand on in everything that they've been saying or are saying?
I'll start with the question. At what point did former Vice President Atiku Abubakar understand or realize that the APC was not the right party? From my recollection, he left the PDP to go and enthrone the then presidential candidate of the APC. So at what point did the cobwebs clear from his eyes? Now, I have been intrigued by the hagiographic accounts of the Tinubu administration going on every airwave you can think of for the past couple of days, where if you were an alien just arriving on planet Earth, you would believe that there is nowhere on this planet that can possibly be better than Nigeria right now. I've heard all sorts of stories. Frankly, out of 49 odd ministers, there are only about 4 or 5 ministries that I can actually say one or two things may have gone positively. I can speak about the Minister of Works in terms of having seen some of the impact of his professionalism on the road
Right.
projects they're doing. In some cases, they're not just repairing roads, they're actually redesigning them for better purpose. I've heard very good things about the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, about what he has done in the FCT. I would say in security, we are not doing all we can do. I think our military is doing its best, but we are losing too many people in our military. In healthcare, unless you can go to France, maybe the rest of us are suffering. In education, we know what's happening, JAM, we know what's happening, and then we have the minister that comes up with policies that make absolutely no sense. Transportation, CNG, how far, where? Agriculture. Do we have better yields, or can dead farmers actually farm? Power and the economy. After learning all the new letters of the alphabet when it comes to power, ban this, ban that, how far is there power? And the rest goes on like that. I think in aviation, we have some marginal things. Our ministry, we may not call it a ministry, when it comes to that policy where you have improved our foreign reserves. So is that Ministry of Finance or is that CBN? I don't know which one. But there are some positives that we also paid off a lot of debts. But largely, in most of the sectors, and especially in the lives and pockets of ordinary Nigerians, these first 2 years of the Tinubu administration have been extremely painful, poverty-inducing, and underwhelming. He can keep claiming that he knows our pains, but it doesn't seem to me that a person who knows our pains would come to Lagos with a convoy of 50 cars, block everybody's possibility of moving around, and tell me he's going to go and look at no, it's African Union or ECOWAS.
ECOWAS.
ECOWAS, AES right now, because we are not the former ECOWAS that we used to be. But putting that aside, these people now complaining, yes, some of it is opposition doing what opposition does, but maybe somebody has to say it apart from me. There are lots of things that I could even argue for their positivity. I like the fact that somebody cannot just sit down in an office right now, pick up their phone, get an allocation from the central bank of $1, and then turn around without doing any productive work and sell it for $6 or whatever the exchange rate difference was. That was just pure stealing and arbitrage. So that policy of trying to unify the exchange rate is good. I can even argue about the removal of the subsidy. I was always a subsidy removal hawk. What I know is completely poor is the way they have gone about it. I just think there's a crisis of competence in the current administration, not because the policies cannot have merits, but because the way they've gone about it has been entirely too painful. And there is everything the government does now is to remove their hand from responsibility. And in turn, what do? You don't have a sense of shared fate. Instead, we are buying new jets, we are buying new presidential yachts, we are paying for new cars for the people in office. Only 5,000 to 10,000 people in Nigeria are enjoying Nigeria right now. The rest of us are suffering. And so there is some merit in what the opposition, if you want to call them, are saying. But my question is, their opposition right now, if they're in office, would they be so strident? I doubt it very much.
All right, Amy, before I actually leave the story, let me just should I say throw a spanner in the works a little bit here and ask you this. Now, looking at where things have been up until the administration came in 2023 and where we are now. Now, there will be arguments that there has been quite a bit of mismanagement that has led to us being in the doldrums, and getting us out of the doldrums isn't as straightforward as it possibly could be. Now, can that be an argument? Or could the government have done a little bit better in how things have panned out in terms of their attempts anyway?
Let me say something. There is a lack of authenticity because I dislike the fact that they will keep making this bold statement that we met a tough situation. Who are the we? How did they meet? The current president was directly and even claimed direct responsibility for putting the former president in office. So he didn't just meet it, he was contributing. In fact, he was what was that movie? The one where you seem to think you are going back and with the one with he was an incipient factor in the mismanagement that he claimed to have met. So it's dishonest to say we met. He caused the mismanagement. He opposed policies like removing fuel subsidy when somebody had the foresight to do it before. He was on the front line of opposition then. So I'm sorry, it is inauthentic to get up and say we met and then do as if you cannot set a fire, then bring a fire engine to put it off and claim that you are a hero. You are an arsonist in the first place.
All right. Thank you for sharing those thoughts there, AB. Oladapo Fadonsi on YouTube says, some people really take delight with mesmerizing themselves with daydreams and paranoia. Whomever ranks these past 2 years with the pass mark is living in a fool's paradise. Oh, that's Shegun from Alagomeji. I was looking at the YouTube name there. Thank you, Shegun, for sending your message. You can keep your thoughts coming in on WhatsApp on 0809 4440981. Where do you stand on the first 2 years of this current administration? Pass mark? Can they do better? Let us know where your mind is. All right, AB, let's leave that right now and let's talk about matters of education. One of the sectors that hasn't really, should I say, lived up to expectations, at least in the last 12 months or thereabouts. There's been so much controversy, and that has continued right now. Heading into the vanguard, the House of Representatives Committee on Basic Education and Examination Bodies has issued a 24-hour ultimatum to the West African Examinations Council, that's WAEC, to appear before it on Friday, that is today, 30th of May, over concerns surrounding the ongoing senior school certificate examination, the SSC exams. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Boku Abon Sisibe of 4G, gave the directive on Thursday after WAEC failed to honor an earlier invitation to appear before the panel. Now, according to a 4G, WAEC was summoned to explain widespread complaints and irregularities reported during the ongoing exams. AB, I've seen ridiculous things happen in Nigeria. This one is, should I say, in that WhatsApp group as well. You see students taking the examinations late at night, at odd times, using torches, to illuminate the classrooms and all that. Why on earth would that be happening in big 2025 that we're in? Come on, what is going on?
It is simply inconceivable. The very fact that we have government officials talking about how good Nigerians are having it once again, and you have these kind of things going on, just tells you the complete disassociation between the minds of those in office and the lived lives of ordinary Nigerians. I speak as an ordinary Nigerian, and I would hope that even if I were privileged to be in one of those offices, I would maintain my authenticity. The fact that, I remember WAEC, yes, laugh at me, Ayo, mine was hundreds of years ago, but yes, when we did WAEC, we sat down, then by God's grace, in a classroom, my classmates all around me, in our uniforms, and we had to battle the matters. Yes, the exams, we passed some, we failed some, but at the end of the day, we had the sense that a process had gone on, and we had reason to trust the result as it came out. When I'm hearing these stories of what children are going through doing the WAEC, I'm really, really terrified for them. I'm hurt for them because they don't deserve this. As a child, all you should be concerned about is doing your schoolwork, your preparation, doing your chores as a normal, good African child, and being respectful to your teachers and all that. Thinking of children having to get to places, do exams, I had up till 9 o'clock. You confirmed to me some people up to 12 midnight. What can you possibly retain in your head after the hours of 3, 4, maybe even 5 p.m., if maybe some practical, something went long? You are doing exams 6, 7, 8 to 12 midnight. That exam already has failed. No matter what you were trying to test, you cannot possibly get the best out of that student. And that the white people were summoned and chose not to come. I think it's an affront. But the National Assembly should look at themselves. People will only disrespect you when you live in a disrespectful manner. They have been ignored before by ministers. They have been ignored before by people in the security sector. So the white people are just joining a long, infamous list of people that feel that there is reason to ignore the National Assembly. The National Assembly should look in the mirror and behave in a way that makes people retain respect for them. I just think whatever it is that went wrong with the logistics, we really have to take a closer look and make sure that children get a chance, an opportunity to be properly tested, thereby testing themselves to know whether they really garnered the information that were taught all the years before. WAEC is a serious, life-changing exam. You can't treat it like this.
Yes, indeed. Of course, we know WAEC is West Africa. It's not just in Nigeria. But one thing I will go back to, AB. You mentioned some of the ministries or ministers you thought had done relatively well up until this point. Now, talking about the education ministry, I mean,
I didn't include his name.
I know.
I did not
I'm
include
going
his
somewhere.
name.
I'm going somewhere. In the last 12 months or thereabouts, it's been one controversy or the other, talks about, let's make a let's peg the age at which you can take the WAEC exams at 18. Controversy there, controversies over
Yes,
JAM. Now we're having issues with
yes.
WAEC. I mean, what is going on in the education ministry? Bearing in mind that this is a very key ministry in terms of nurturing our young ones for the future. This cannot go on.
What is going on is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who chose to hire such a person, has for now deemed that that person is performing adequately according to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's standards. So if the man is acting out of turn and the person who hired him has seen nothing wrong with it, then the president who hired him is 100% responsible for giving Nigeria that level of ineptitude.
All right, let me take a message or two so I can reduce the workload as we get along. This is Ade in Lagos says, this government is the worst in history. 2 years of nightmares, sorrow, tears, and blood. This government is like a student that failed an exam and you are praising yourself. Also, you want to promote, also wants to promote himself to another class. Like I used to say, the foundation that brought this government into power is not credible. All that it does won't work. Like Daily Farotimi said, you can't bribe your way into power and expect development. This is a long message. Thank you for your message, Ade, even though I'm not fully in agreement with some things that you've said here, but I will leave it at that. Let me take another one. This is from Cisco Delgado says, JAM has infected WAEC with the deadly infection of disorganized exam preparations. I hope other examination bodies in Nigeria will not be infected. Well, we don't know. We don't know. Ibukun Inketu says, where is the Ministry of Education in all of this? Aren't our schools under the federal and state ministries of education? Do they have the power to summon a pan-African organization? Education has become a horror experience from registration for exams to getting results. You know, Ibi, like I said, WAEC is a West African body. Now, we actually need to
It
find out,
has.
is the problem on the WAEC, on the WAEC end, or on the Nigerian end of things?
Listen, at the end of the day, WAEC is not a ghost. As much as it's West Africa wide, it must have Nigerian representatives. West
Mm.
Africa doesn't administer the exams. Nigerian people administer the Nigerian exams, Ghanaian administer, etc. So there are people that can be summoned within each country to address problems. Now, we don't know whether these same exams happened at 12 midnight in Ghana. I don't yet know. But what I do know and what we're talking about is that within the Nigerian space, in certain states, the exams went in a silly manner. The people responsible for that have to be summoned because the papers didn't get themselves to the place without, there are human beings involved. Let's not be a bit too slick by half. There are human beings involved with these exams. Those people should come and answer questions.
Yes, indeed. All right, let me go back into the stories, AB. Let's keep the ball rolling and talk about matters that have to do with security, another area where has not been particularly fantastic, at least in the last 2 years. This is coming out of the Daily Trust. Troops of the Nigerian military attached with Operation Hadinkai have arrested 18 soldiers, 15 mobile policemen, and 8 civilians, including a traditional ruler, for allegedly supplying arms and ammunition to non-state actors. This is just as the theater commander, Operation Hadinkai Abdul Salam Abubakar, a major general, accused foreign mercenaries of providing training for members of Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa province ISWAP, terrorizing the northeast. Now, this latest arrest and revelation came less than a week after Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum raised the alarm that some military officers and politicians are informants and collaborators for the terrorists following the resurgence of attacks in the state. I would say the witch cried yesterday, the child died today kind of thing. Maybe not exactly the situation, but something similar. But AB, looking at what has happened now, this has been said severally that those in security architecture, some of them are colluding with these terrorists and so on and so forth. Now, some have been arrested. Now looking at the situation right now, how key is it that a very serious example is made of these people if they're actually found to be culpable of what they've been accused of?
First of all, kudos to the intelligence services, both in the army and the police and everything, that were able to identify, uncover, and capture or arrest these people. There is nothing, in my view, more sinister or horrific than the people that you expect to be your saviors or your safe haven being the ones most likely to sabotage you. In fact, that is the fare upon which many horror movies are made. You're in a house, you're thinking you are safe, you open a wardrobe, and there is the horror, the horror character. So it's very, very good that they've got these people. On what, and I know that military systems of, discipline and code prescribe very, very appropriate, let me use the word appropriate punishments for such behavior. It is terrible that you are with your brother in arms, not knowing that that person is the cause of your potential death. We don't know how many soldiers and police we have lost because of people like this. So I cannot prescribe any punishment higher than I wish there were. If the death penalty is part of it, it should be done to them. We've heard these complaints for a long time, and it would appear that the evidence bears it out. There is no way on earth you will tell me that my Nigerian military cannot handle ordinarily, whether a ragtag or an organized army, effectively. The Nigerian military and indeed our Nigerian police have proven themselves competent in every theater outside of Nigeria. So it seems clear to me that it is within Nigeria that the difference has been. Go and look at us in various places where we have negative occurrences. Nigerian police and Nigerian military, wherever they are deployed elsewhere, they always come back with accolades. So this is kudos to the military and police establishment identifying these people. But beyond these people, they must root out the connections, what is the means by which they were doing this. Imagine selling the arm they're supposed to use to defend me to criminals and other terrorists. Then we hear about mercenaries being used to train people. First, are they being trained inside or outside Nigeria? If it's outside, how are the trainees going in and out of the country safely and easily? And if it's inside Nigeria, how did the mercenaries enter here and how are they actually carrying it out? Use that same intelligence to identify them and please terminate them. I don't like to talk too much. Kill them. I just think this is at least it's an inch in the right direction. More things like this more sting operations like this have to be done, and hopefully they will lead to discoveries and help our soldiers and police live so that they can defend us in perpetuity. But we need to end this war. So let's get to the root of it and kill all enemies, domestic and foreign.
Right. Michael says, it seems as if the only thing Nigeria is capable of doing well as of today is bragging about jollof rice. Oh dear.
Jeez.
Oh dear.
Michael.
Ah,
Jeez. On a
this is
Friday.
on a Friday. This is Tony here. I think Tony is in Amu, if I got this correctly. Tony says, we just have spineless opposition political parties in Nigeria. They criticize the same APC that were brutal when they were the opposition with merely economical facts. This administration doesn't inspire confidence and cares less about the real citizens of this country. Once the elites are appeased, the actual ordinary citizens are inconsequential to them until general election circles surfaces. What a country. Okay. This is from Abayomi Animashal. He says, the United States of America was releasing $40 million weekly to the Taliban. The situation here in Africa is not a Nigerian problem. It's a global issue. And that's why Boko Haram seems strong, because it is funded from these funds by ISWAP, Taliban, and all. America is the problem behind terrorism in the world. So what then do we do? If that is the case, what then do we do? Do we fight the US? I don't know. I, I really don't know at this point in time. Let me take one more before we take another story very quickly. The way time runs when we're having such a good time on the show, it needs to be studied. This
Amazing.
is this is from, who's this here? Okay, there's no name attached to it, but it says, AB, the government officials are not disconnected. They know what is going on. They are just a bunch of deceitful and fraudulent people. Hmm. They know what they're doing. Well, there's a very popular saying on social media these days. Everybody knows what they are doing. That is something I'm going to hold on to at this point in time. Anyways, AB, let's head into the Daily Post here. Let's talk about the ICPC. This one had me smiling. not in the way I should be smiling, but smiling all the same. The story reads, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has advised Nigerian children to desist from corruption, describing it as a dream killer. Now, Suleiman Achide, the Assistant Director of Education, the Education Department in ICPC, made this statement on Thursday in Abuja at the inauguration of Students Anti-Corruption Clubs in the Federal Capital Territory. Now, actually called on Nigerian children and the youth to assist ICPC to protect their legitimate dreams and future by standing against corruption and allied vices. The ICPC has said, children, corruption, flee from it. But AB, don't you think that this is something that you don't just tell them? This is something that you express. It's do as I do, not do as I say, that kind of thing. It should start from the top, should it not? And really, at the end of the day, with everything going on in Nigeria right now, doesn't corruption look particularly attractive to the children anyway?
You see, I can support the overall mentality and concept behind this drive by the ICPC, but I would argue, like you, that it is totally misdirected and going to the wrong set of people. In as much as, yes, everybody shouldn't support corruption, but as a child, there's a reason why people are still termed as children. It is taken that for a while of their lives, up to at least 18, they don't yet quite know what they're doing, and they're impressionable, i.e., they learn from what they see. So when you're coming to a child to tell the person, don't be corrupt, what does the child know about corruption? I even told my dad this example. When I was a very young child, my mom used to tell me, maybe when you grow up, no drinks, no drugs, no bad company. The only drug I knew as a child was Queen, which I hated because they put it into Fanta for me. And from that
Terrible
time,
stuff.
I hated Fanta, thinking that that's the taste of Fanta because I had malaria. A child may not know what corruption is, but they end up seeing examples of adults engaging in corruption, benefiting corruption, being hailed and praised by society for corruption. And that is what they learn. So yes, ICPC is doing what the National Orientation Agency should be doing, perhaps. But ICPC focus on pursuing those who have been identified as corrupt, or at least who are alleged to be corrupt. ICPC, EFCC, there's a white lion somewhere in your future. Pursue that white lion. Leave the NOA to talk to the children. And focus on the adults who are engaging in corruption. Because these children will only, you can tell them all you want to tell them. If you don't show and if you don't demonstrate that being corrupt has bad consequences, they will find ways to join the platoon of corrupt people in the country. So I think, again, conceptually, not a bad idea, but I think directed by the wrong people to the wrong subset of society. NOA is the one supposed to be telling us such things. And I'm not saying anybody else can't join, but ICPC has a job. Have they exhausted all their responsibility before they entered NOA's work? Question worth answering.
All right, let me take your messages as we wrap up on the show this morning. Gilbert Musa in Festac says, on the ICPC lecture to children, it should be noted that people believe what they see than what is said. Without good examples by our leaders, children are bound to be equally corrupt. There we are. Idimapuza says, Mr. President shouldn't blame the former government, the former Buhari government, because if he's bad, Mr. President won't be following his footsteps. He was aware of whatever happened in the last government. Things are happening abnormally in the country now, and nobody is being punished, fired, or prosecuted as a deterrent. That's corruption. All right, thank you for your message, Dave Mapuza. Joseph Maye says, it's often said you can plant yam and cassava. Do you know that during the past administration, plus this new one under the APC, is a total disaster? Just no outstanding ministers, just a few, yet they are still in office. The Senate can't invite security agencies, leaders, or economy, but they are calling JAM and WAEC. Is there no House committee on these matters? We are learning the hard way for not fighting for our votes. All right. This is a message from Lawson. Lawson says, when the army is recruiting captured Boko Haram as de-radicalized persons into the army, what do you expect? Well, I don't know if they're bringing them back into the army, but that de-radicalization, Less said. Ibrahim Zakari says, in my opinion, this government has scored 10% of the whole, from budget padding to window dressing, SUV buying, rubber stamp Senate. The list is endless. This government is better described as the animal farm. As for the police, they are on a killing spree and violate citizens' rights. This government has performed woefully. Those scoring this administration should wake up and smell the coffee. Sanfajo says, our leader should lead by example. That's in response to the ICPC story there. This is from Kenny. I'm guessing it's Kenny. If our leaders are claiming reforming of the economy, are they also part of the reform? Just as the masses are feeling the pains and being brought down to their knees, Haba, our leaders and elites are wicked. And says Nigeria's security architecture is heavily compromised with foreign moles and Nigeria's military with highly placed officials from the government and civilians as well. This is from Barrister Danukuda, who says, until officials are sanctioned for the ineptitude and incompetence, the rot in our examination bodies will continue. Jay Olunloa says, it's been 2 years of total failure for this administration in the area of security, economy, education, health, and the general well-being of the citizens. Much better is expected from this President Tinubu's administration. And on YouTube, this is Miriam Juma. She says, I believe that they have been disconnected from the rest of Nigerians. This is absolute incompetence and wickedness. People are suffering, for goodness sake. They are very delusional. This is inhumane. All right. Thank you all for all the messages. We need to wrap it up. AB, it's been well, a mixed bag this morning, but hey, it's a Friday, the weekend is upon us.
My brother, you know, people are speaking from a lived experience. So when I turned on the TV, in between going to go and throw up in the bathroom from hearing stories and lies, I just felt it's such a pity that people actually can get up and in good conscience speak about the current administration. I, on another platform, scored them 4 out of 10 because, as I said, I can see some merits in some of the policies, and there are actually 1 or 2 remote things, but you have to connect what you are doing to the lives of the people. Right now, the people that are patting them on the back are World Bank and IMF, and I'm sorry, those people don't, in my view, have my best interests in mind. Ayo, have a wonderful weekend ahead. To the listeners, do all you can to have a fulfilling Friday and weekend ahead as well. God bless you all.
All right. Amen to that. God bless you as well, AB. Thank you so much for taking out the time to join us this morning. Lagos, it's been an amazing one, as always. Keep it tuned to the Smooth Breakfast. 8:15, we take a walk into the locker room. It's all about sports and so much more.